Sometime in the early to mid 1980s, Chris Williams and I were on Brea Avenue late at night. And from across the street, we could see in a storefront window a lighted pink object. And we thought, well, what is that thing? We couldn't identify it from that distance. And so we walked across the street and got closer to it. And there was a label identifying the object in the window, identifying it as a piece of furniture by R.M. Schindler. And it was pink, and it was very clear that it had been a built-in piece of furniture from one of his buildings. It had been ripped out of its context, and then it was presented as an autonomous object. And at the time, that seemed to be an atrocity to us, that this design that was very holistic of an entire building that incorporated built-ins had been violated, and this element had been taken out of its context, an act of violence in a way. R.M. Schindler is originally Austrian, came from Vienna, was an immigrant to the United States, located finally in Los Angeles, and had a very active practice for many years, and was an extraordinarily influential figure. So I located two designs that were devised by Schindler in the late 1940s. Both of these structures were designed and built in the late 1940s, and then they were used for a certain amount of time, and then they were demolished. Behind me are examples of the designs for these built-in pieces of furniture. They've never been used as furniture. They have never been built in, so they were designed to always be somewhat part of this eviscerated body. Then I used the high-gloss honeysuckle pink, and it's really only applied in one coat, but the paint is very high quality and it's very dense, but it is done in such a way that there are certain sections that are totally opaque. There are certain sections where you still see dry brushwork, where the underpainting comes through. There are certain points where the paint truly pools and drips. And it wasn't so much that I was going for that image, but I was going for that effect. And I didn't know exactly how to achieve that until an assistant and I started painting them in Vienna. This is the first time this project has been shown in the United States. So it was shown once in Vienna, and then certain isolated elements were shown by themselves in Europe, but this is the first time the entire set is being shown in the States, and in particular Los Angeles. It's spatialized in a different kind of way. And since you can read the address of these two locations, these two former locations for Schindler buildings, and you can hop in your car and get there in a few minutes from LACMA, where that was not the case in Vienna. In Vienna, it was like this distant image of Los Angeles. Los Angeles is over there somewhere. It's the promised land, or however one thinks of Los Angeles in Vienna.